Okay, we're on air. We're here to talk about prepping or preparing for disaster, when the system goes down. And one thing that can happen is you lose electric power. So you can't depend on plugging in anything. You need batteries for flashlights. Or you need to get non-battery flashlights, which are solar powered. I really recommend those. And you can put them in a secure area wherever you are, out in the woods or your secluded area, and get the sunlight. If you don't want to rely just on those, which I also recommend trying out different types of power source, there's also a hand crank. But this one here is solar. This is a really good design. You absorb with this, and it usually takes you about not more than an hour to get a full charge, so that it's ready for you at night. You can't use it continuously for the hour, but who goes around continuously with a flashlight? You turn it on when you need it. And you can, in the continuous area, which is secure, you can use lanterns. So they're either powered by kerosene, or you can convert them to vegetable oil. So you need the power or the fuel for that stuff. So that's in your storage area of your supplies. And like I was saying, there are several different kind of flashlights. Hand crank is just has a little generator on it, and you use your hand to crank it. Those are really good because you're not depending on anything, and it's for short use. That's what you should have. See, the thing is, over dependency on light, you have to get your eyes accustomed to darkness at night. The more you use the light, the more other people can see where you are. So you don't want to do that. That's really the best thing. So I'm not overemphasizing flashlights. Trying to tell you, use them all the time. Oh my God, you need lights. It's going to make you safer. Actually, it's going to make you less safe. It'll make you into a target. There's also just basic candles that you can use. You're in a contained, secure space. You just use a candle, but be safe anytime with open flames, especially if children are around and they don't know about that kind of thing. Teach the children as soon as you can about the basic skills that they need. Water is going to be shut off, not only just electric. Okay, so you need to store some water. How much water would you suggest for one person that they should have or supply?
Geez, at least 100 gallons.
Yeah, that would be a good start, because then you're independent for a good many weeks if you need to, before any system gets put back into place. And this could go on for months and months and months. So if you can figure out what to do if your water supply runs out, how to get continuous water. If you're lucky, you will be able to get a flowing water from a natural source, but not all of you are going to get that lucky. So have containers, protect it, make sure your containers are clean. And I'm not talking about just chlorine type of thing, because really you don't want to have chlorine in it. There are other things that you can put into the water. Actually, stuff like hydrogen peroxide is better. I don't recommend using any chlorine, Clorox, those type of brands. Forget about that. You could also just put a drop of Dr. Bronner soap in it. That's not going to kill you, but what it will do is help sterilize the water. There's many other things, and I think where you are in the world depends on what you're going to be able to get. There are certain seeds you can use. There's moringa that purifies water. There's also, once you're going to use the water, if you're going to drink it or cook with it, you can pour it through any kind of filter, and it's just a handmade filter, like a cut open bottle. You pour it through the top, and you put sand at the bottom, and you put like a cotton pad, like cotton gauze, and you just pour the water through that. So as it percolates through and then you recollect it up to the usable container, it could slow filter through there in about, an hour or so, and you just made a free filter. Okay? Make sure you get your sand from a clean spot. Have like, a big bucket of this sand, just pure sand, and better to store it dry, much better. Then when you take a scoop and put it into your filter, you only need to change it every so often. Sand and a cotton gauze is going to remove most of your particles, your algae and different things like that, is likely to get into water that's sitting around. This is a lot better than chlorine, because you see, chlorine's going to make it unhealthy. It's not worth the thing. They say it kills everything in it. It's not worth that. Okay, first of all, most people, you're not going to have these kind of poisons in the water unless you got it from a bad source to begin with. So make sure it's not. Then when the water is just sitting around and you keep it closed, you basically just have to filter out for certain things that are organic. And as far as fluoride and all that stuff, if it's already in there, go for your more high-tech filters if you want to. But the more things that you keep trying to think about for that, it's just extra expenses, extra things to do, extra money. Really, what do you need your money for? Why don't you buy some good water? Or go somewhere where somebody's going to put it into a big tank from like an artesian well and use your money for that. So, these are decisions you have to make. We talked about electric, we talked about water. Let's talk about food. Gosh. Canned food is probably what you're going to be living on for a while if the going really gets rough, if the system's really bad. So I don't recommend frozen food because you're not really going to be able to keep it frozen unless it happens in the winter. You could just keep it in a cold area in the entranceway if it's protected, or you can leave it in a root cellar. But then again, it's probably not going to be able to stay that frozen. So you're probably going to need mostly canned foods. You're going to need dry goods. I think that half and half should be a good ratio, unless you really prefer one over the other. The dry goods are going to be stuff that obviously you're going to have to reconstitute with water, but it saves you on a lot of space, and there's just a lot of things that you can get in a dry form because they dehydrate it and they, what is it? What are dry? Like pastas, yeah. Oatmeal, what else?
I use whatever canned foods.
No, dried stuff.
Oh.
And dried in boxes and
rice.
Yeah, so like bulk stuff because it'll keep. It's unfortunately if you can't get fresh food, you got to survive on something. If you can't get out or whatever is going to be happening. As far as fresh food, what I would suggest is this: you get some dry seeds, and your most common popular one is going to be alfalfa. So buy it up right now, send away, make an order to an alfalfa seed supply. They're going to give it a half, 8 ounce, or a pound, whole pound, maybe buy 5 pounds, or on eBay they have it. So you're going to have this, and what you can do is sprout it. And these sprouts are going to give you fresh food. It's the easiest way to go to give yourself some living enzymes and chlorophyll. I really recommend this for the prepping and the disaster, because you take the seeds and you put them on either a really clean sponge, brand new sponge, or on paper towels or you can use a cheesecloth, like fold it over. You put the seeds there, and you keep them damp. You don't want to keep them totally submerged because they might rot, but just enough water so they can soak it in. And within less than a week, so really, if they're live seeds, it should be about 3 or 4 days, and you're going to see them start to grow, and the root and the stem is going to come out. So you need to eat these within about 6 days to 7 days, and then you keep circulating this so you always have fresh. You know, start some, and then 2 days later start some. It's called staggering your supply. So every 2 days get it going, and then you'll have a supply. You eat it, and then by the time that's finished in a few days, you have another batch coming in. Okay? So that's just a logical succession. Try to keep everything clean. It's possible mold could get in there or things like that. You just keep track of it. That means there's too much water. Let it dry out a little bit. You know, maybe the area wasn't clean. You know, just use a little soap. And I always recommend Bronner soap. So these are your basic things. I talked about.
Talking about survivalism.
Okay, we have another
sprout,
expert
things you can sprout.
person. This is a reused mason jar, which is another supply you're going to need. This is a good thing to keep everything. You put it into your supply area for your food pantry. Here is organic rice. This can also be sprouted.
Actually, I thought I got the wheat berries.
Okay, well, you know, I never really sprouted rice, but you could maybe do that. But if not, this is just something you could cook. It's a dried goods. And here's the sunflower. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the fresh stuff. Because you won't be able to go to the store. The supermarkets are going to be closed. You cannot go to the store and get any salads or nothing. Oh, but this is the moringa. If you can't get this in your part of the world, especially in America, you don't have this. We have this in the tropics. So, but I mean, you could order this. They do sell it from places. Just look it up, moringa seed. If you get this, you'll be so blessed with this.
If I set these with you?
No.
I don't know why.
What are you doing?
No, because I want to point out, I want to make a hand for this.
This is my seed. This is my seed. Why you take my seed out? I grew this in the garden.
This is in.
It's a string bean.
See, and even the children planted these, and they grow like crazy. And if you can find it locally, you have saving the seed and planting it.
Yeah, you have seeds in this. You can see, and the seeds can come out. You can either cook them, or you can sprout them, or you can put them in a little bit of dirt, and literally, probably in 2 months or so, you can harvest more. So dry out sometimes your string beans, and that will be something that you can live on.
Just
okay?
Beans, anything like
that's prepping.
cilantro.
And really, you didn't show any alfalfa seeds because you didn't know.
We packed a lot of them.
We did pack it because, just to let you know, we are going to our prepping site already. We are going, our whole team, our whole group, that you don't see all of us in this network. There's a lot of people. We've got a group together, and that's the other thing that you really need when you're prepping, is I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have people you trust or your support network, and you don't know who's who and who's calling the shots, when it comes down to it, you need coordination and you need a chain of command.
That's a very important thing you stated, Mr. A, because
that's
we're talking about
everybody.
The new world order. We're looking at a fact of, without proper cooperation, this system will break down. So the whole drills, just in your town, just test it out. Everyone just, if you want to just stockpile rice, stockpile corn, stockpile oatmeal, and see if there's cooperation. You might have 10,000 people in your town, 1,000 people survive. Will there be cooperation? Who wants to give the matches? Who wants to give the water? And when looking at the deeper concept,
I just want to say that you can't just trust everybody in your town. I appreciate you saying more people get together, but you can't trust everybody in your town.
Somebody might take your rice with an AR-15.
Yeah, you don't know who's who. At some point, you need to go. You're not all from town. I gather up people that are close to me from different towns. See, and that's not just your physical resource. To prepare for disaster, you need people that you can trust. They can be from anywhere.
You know, these nations in the world that we know, like I've been recently accustomed to the fact that mother, father, this lineage doesn't exist like I used to know it. Well, the world.
We have tribes. We have tribes.
Nations won't exist, so we might have thousands of people coming over that might want to reform a new nation. Are they going to barter with us? Are they going to trade with us?
It might be just like 10 of us that survive.
How do we recognize?
You know, may go out and bring straggling people together and start a nation. So if you survive, you could possibly get in that position.
We're not going to have these battles.
Okay, what do you have? You want to say something over here? She's always got something good to talk about, even though I'm the talker.
I hear you and then I get inspired.
What is that, weed?
Something and it makes sense.
What is that, a big chunk of ganja?
Point out that I'm learning as I'm packing for this adventure that these things aren't so important, like the glass bowls and like things and like kitchenware, because I realized how much in nature, like these are just 2 pieces of the Palo Fierro that I found and just began to just smooth out, you know.
But is that so? These are like materials,
so
rocks,
the most important thing I'm finding when having to pack lightweight is, of course, bedding and warmth, and of course seeds and
there's a lot of stuff. I'm talking to people in regards
of. You could actually eat off this if you had to. You can use your hands. You know, there's nothing wrong.
But I'm talking about people that just have a secured spot that they go to, probably no more than 5 or 10 miles away from where they're living. Not like us. We're going hundreds and hundreds of miles to a more secure location to set up our supplies. Right? See, that's the thing. I'm not talking to people that are going to that extent. I'm just talking to your basic prepper in towns or cities around the world, especially where it's the highest advanced civilization is going to have the farthest to fall. This is what you have to worry about, because like if you're in LA or if you're in London or you're in Moscow or Rome or Tokyo, you have much farther to fall than somebody just in this small town in the farmland, because it's not going to be as much of a shock to them. When the city collapses, it's just people are going to fall from convenience. People are going to fall from this attitude that, like, we have everything, it all comes to us. Nothing's going to come to you in the city, is what you got to understand. You better get it straight that they're going to cut you off.
And people will congregate in a city and then capture the animal and then cage it in their city. That's messed up.
Well, that's probably why the system is going to be falling, is because it has to fall, and I accept that it's going to fall. You know, I'm not going to save the sinking ship. Sorry, but I didn't sign on to be the captain. Now, did I? Not of the sinking ship.
But we don't really know who's going to be the leader. That's a good point.
Well, it's just whoever is still attached to it, they're going to go down.
They lead in groups, and they lead through action. They lead through action.
Let's see how this is doing now.